A dam. So what is a dam? A dam is something, it's a structure which is used to stop the flow of water, to divert the flow of water. A dam has multiple purposes. A dam as is a multi-purpose structure. It can be used for storing of water, or it can be used to divert the water, or it can be used to prevent the water from coming into a certain place. During flood control, dams are used, and for irrigation purposes and for hydroelectric power generation. We need to have constant flow of water for continuous power generation. So dams are used to store the water and let the water throughout the year. Even though there are seasonal variations in rainfall, there's always water because of the dam. And also it's used for other purposes such as fishing and recreation. Here are some terminologies which you'll come across during the course of the video. At least the sluice especially is something you'll come across. The sluice or the sluice gate is used to control the water levels in the rivers or canals. It's also used to control the head of the dam, that is the level of water in the dam. So that's the sluice. Then you have the abutment. You can see the definition here, the part of the valley against which the dam is constructed. That's the abutment. Then the conduit. Conduit is also a channel. It's usually a channel from, if you take hydroelectric power plants, it's the channel from the dam leading to the power plant. The channel will take the water from the dam to the turbine in the power plant. Storage dam. A storage dam, as the name suggests, is used for storing water. It's usually used in hydroelectric power plants where water is required for the generation of electricity. Due to the seasonal variation in rainfall, we cannot depend on the rain alone. So the dams constructed to store water during the rainy season, and even during the season when water is scarce, water can be provided continuously to the power plant because of the dam, because of the water stored in the dam. And besides that, it's also used for irrigation purposes. And again, during the rainy season, a lot of water might lead to floods. So if building a dam will help to store the water and control the flood. And besides this, it's also used for improving the, increasing the water supply for irrigation purposes, and also for improved habitat for fish and wildlife. So these are some of the reasons why storage dams are used. In the picture here, you can see a dam on the top, and the water from the dam goes through a conduit to the turbines to generate electricity. And then that water from the dam is let out into another, either to allowed to continue running into the through the river, flow with the river, or it's again stored somewhere else in some other, in a lake, it's let off into the lake or a pond or something. Diversion dams. Again, as the name suggests, diversion dam is used for diverting the water of a river into another channel or canal. They're usually used for irrigation systems again, so that the water from the river can be diverted into canals which lead to the fields. Another thing about diversion dams is because they do not need to store water, their head is very less. That is, the height of the dam is very less, a low height they have. And also, sometimes these diversion dams are also known as weirs. Detention dams. Detention dams are used for detaining water. These dams are solely used for the purpose of flood control. The water which is detained is then later released once the sudden floods are reduced. Thus, this ensures that the area below the dam, that is downstream of the dam, is protected against flood. A debris dam. Debris dam is usually constructed to retain the debris that is flowing in the water. This ensures that the water passing after coming out of the debris dam is clear. This is usually necessary in hydroelectric power plants because we do not want any debris going into the turbines, that is the prime mover, as this will damage the prime mover. This is where usually it is used, the debris dam. The coffer dam. Now the coffer dam is usually used to keep the water out of the place. That is, to keep a place dry, the coffer dam is used to make sure the water does not enter. Usually in construction areas where we need a dry environment, the the coffer dam is placed such that the water is diverted into a diversion channel and the construction is done. Usually in construction of dams itself. So before the main dam comes into place, we use coffer dams to keep the water away. Gravity dams. These are massive dams. The gravity dams are usually made of concrete or stone. The dams are constructed such that the weight is able to withstand the horizontal pressure of the water. So that is why they are also known as gravity dams. And the gravity essentially means that the dam is held down to the ground, stopping the water from toppling it over. So that it ensures that it's called the gravity dam because it can stand on the ground and not fall down because of the pressure of the water. Here you can see some examples of gravity dam. The Nagarjuna Sagar has a dam, which is the gravity dam, and then there's also one in USA, the Grand Coulee Dam, and the Itaipu Dam, which lies between Brazil and Paraguay. It's supposed to be the largest in the world as well. Here you can see the picture of a gravity dam, the structure of it. It's usually small in the top, the crest, and then as it goes down, it tapers down into it becomes wider at the bottom. We can also see a sluice way. I told you already what a sluice is. It's used to control the head of the dam. That is the water level in the dam. It's a channel basically. And then you also have something called a spillway. So what is a spillway? Now we don't want the water from the dam flooding over and affecting the areas surrounding. So we have something called spillway which ensures that any excess water flows out and does not cause floods. So the excess water flows through the spillway and continues to the river without causing any floods. The rock-filled dams, as you can tell, is filled with it's a dam made out of rock fragments and boulders. It's usually got a impervious membrane. This is to ensure that there's no seepage of water through the dam. Because it's made of rocks, there's a lot of gap in between the rocks, and there's obviously chances of a lot of water seeping through the dam. To ensure that this does not happen, we have a membrane, impervious membrane. Usually, this membrane is made out of cement or concrete. Besides this, there is it's one problem with the Rockfield Dam is that it's becoming archaic, that it's very old. It's not a very practical solution, seeing that we have better dams now. The main problem being that a lot of water usually seeps through the dam, which is why it's not a very practical solution. Arch dam. Arch dam, as the name suggests, is arch shaped. That's why it's called the arch dam. That is, it's curved. Usually, an arch dam is used in narrow canyons, that is, in narrow places. When the gap you have a narrow gap, that's why the arch dams are usually built. An example of the arch dam would be the Hoover Dam in USA. If you're coming to India, the Idukki Dam is a commonly known name. You can see in this picture how it's curving in. It usually has a curvature, the arch dam. It's a very important characteristic, you can say, of the arch dam. Buttress dams. Now, buttress dams are of three types: so the deck type, the multiple arch type, and the massive head type. Now, the thing about buttress dams is they have decks. Now, the pressure of the water is sent down to the foundation from the deck. That is, the pressure which is applied on the deck is sent down to the foundation. So that's basically the design of the buttress dam. These decks are made out of concrete usually, and is supported between the buttresses. And buttress dam is also known as the hollow dam. This is because it does not form a solid wall across the river valley. That is why they are also known as hollow dam. The buttress dam requires less concrete than gravity dam, but does not mean that it's cheaper. It's because it requires more money and for the different, it's very different type of work, and reinforcement also needs to be done to the dam, and also skilled labor is required. Not any layman can come and work over, create a buttress dam, which is why it also it's not very cheap. And some examples of the buttress dam are the Bartlett Dam in USA, and in Canada as well you have another dam, the buttress type. In this picture you can see the buttress dam. You can also see the deck, that is the one against which the water pressure is felt and it sends the pressure down to the foundation. You can also see why it's called the hollow dam. You can see it's not solid all the way across the river valley. Steel dam. Steel dams are made out of steel plates. There are two types of steel dams: the direct structured and the cantilever type. So these are the two types of steel dams. But unfortunately, now steel dams are becoming obsolete. They're not very practical. The main reason being that they start corroding. Because of that, steel dams are not usually used, and also the higher cost of a steel dam. If at all they are used now, it's usually only for as temporary dams for the construction of the permanent one. So that's all we need to know about the steel dam. Here you can see some examples of the steel dam, the Red Ridge Steel Dam in USA, and also the Ashfork Bainbridge Steel Dam, again in the USA. Here you can see the picture of a steel dam. You have something on the footings to support the dam. The footings are present on the downstream side of the river. Then we have the timber dams. The wood usually used for such timber dams are pine and fir. That is the coniferous varieties. The thing about timber dams is they do not have high heads. There is very small heads. They're not usually about 2 to 4 meters. And also they have sluices. I already told you what sluices is. They are water channels. So these timber dams they have sluices, and you can also see a picture of it here. Rubber dams. Rubber dams are usually made out of huge cylindrical shells of synthetic rubber, which can be either inflated or compressed. So one of the advantages of a rubber dam is the head of the dam can be varied. If you inflate the dam, the head increases, and when you deflate the dam, that is the rubber cylinders, then the head is decreased. But there is some disadvantages of this kind of dam. One thing is a lot of care is needed for this dam, both the time of design and erection. So that is why they are usually limited to smaller projects. One example of a rubber dam in India would be the Janjavati rubber dam in India. Effects of dams. A lot of you people have probably already heard of the Narmada Bachao Andolan, and also the problems or rather opposition against Tehri Dam. All this opposition is usually because dams have a lot of side effects, not very good side effects as well. One main thing being that a lot of land needs to be cleared for building dams, and usually this land tends to be forest lands. A lot of environments are against this because it means that habitats of a lot of wild animals will get destroyed, in turn killing a lot of animals. And also there's also the problem of water logging. This water logging will lead eventually to salinity, which will reduce the fertility of the land. So this is just some of the effects of dams which are undesirable, which is why there's always a lot of opposition to the building of a dam. And forests are not the only things which are getting affected. Invariably, usually the tribal people who live around the forest also get affected. Usually it's because they are displaced. They have to be displaced because the place where they will live is where new dams come up in the name of development. And because of this, tribals face a lot of problems. Like in the new place, if main thing being that they're not compensated properly, so the compensation is not good. And also this displacement, usually they have to go to a newer place, like they are shifted to a place where they're in touch with the modern society, and usually they're not treated very well with the modern society because these tribals have been born and brought up in the forest. They're very naive people, so society usually tends to treat them unfairly. And also because of this, it's like a culture shock for them, so that way also they get affected both mentally and physically as well. And the thing is, once they start getting along, rather getting to know the modern society, they forget a lot of their culture. So culture is destroyed, gets extinct. The heritage, the culture gets extinct due to this displacement of